Okay, these are going to be digestive slides 21 through 23. We're going to pick up in the duodenum, where after the chyme has moved from the stomach into the small intestine, the let's go. The liver releases bile salts into the duodenum, and the bile salts emulsify lipids. When you think of emulsification, you can think of how like Dawn separates grease on that commercial. That means they help to separate the fat droplets from each other, so those lipids can be broken down. The gallbladder is what stores the bile for the liver. So we get a nice storage of bile in that gallbladder. Next, we have the pancreas. The pancreas is activated when there's a low pH in the duodenum. So when the stomach acid gets into the duodenum, the pancreas releases its products. So one of those is, or the first one is the sodium bicarbonate, and that sodium bicarbonate is there to increase the pH, or another way to say that is to decrease the amount of acid, because the duodenum isn't protected by the nice mucus layer that the stomach was. And then pancreatic amylase. Amylase, same thing as the salivary amylase, is going to break polysaccharides down into monosaccharides. So we're still breaking down our carbohydrates. The nucleases break down nucleic acids. And then the proteolytic enzymes, these are enzymes that break down proteins. So proteolytic. Trypsin activates both of these. So the presence of trypsin will activate both of those. There's a trypsinogen trypsinogen is activated by another hormone, or another chemical, I should say, in the small intestine. So we have this inactivated enzyme that once we have food or once we have material in the small intestine be broken down, this trypsinogen becomes activated and turns into trypsin. In the jejunum is where we're absorbing monosaccharides and amino acids, and that's the primary function of the jejunum. And what I forgot also, lipase is an enzyme that breaks down lipids in the duodenum. Okay, the jejunum's a smaller section. In the ileum is where we're going to absorb fat-soluble molecules, especially vitamin B12. So we need vitamin B12. One of the signs of tapeworm infection or infestation is that the tapeworms will absorb all of the vitamin B12. So you'll have a shortage of vitamin B12, even if you give someone vitamin B12 orally. If there's a tapeworm in there, the tapeworm will absorb all that vitamin B12. So that's one of the signs of tapeworm infestation. Water is also absorbed there, electrolytes, and the bile salts are reabsorbed there in the ileum. The passageway between the small intestine and the large intestine is called the ileocecal sphincter. So this sphincter separates the large intestine from the small intestine. In the large intestine, you are going to have the ascending, transverse, and descending parts of your large intestine. And then you'll also be absorbing and reabsorbing water and electrolytes. Sigmoid part of your large intestine is where material is being slowed down so you can form the feces there. What we're going to do is actually go back to that picture of the large intestine so that I can show you here the 3 parts or the 4 parts we really want to be concerned with. So here is the large intestine, and the parts here that we're really concerned with is, well, you have the ileum, which will be the connection to the large intestine. Right here at the end of the small intestine and beginning of the large intestine, you have your appendix. And for years, the appendix, its function was not known or if it was good for anything. But one of the things we know the appendix is good for is to regrow the normal flora within the digestive system. So after periods of say, diarrhea, or when we've just been generally sick, and that normal flora is reduced, so especially the E. coli is reduced in the digestive system, our appendix is holding a reservoir of the normal flora, and it can regrow from in there. So that's a function. So once we pass through that ileocecal sphincter, we then move into the ascending, transverse, descending portion of the large intestine. And as we pass through there, we have the sigmoid colon, where material is going to be slowed down. And we have the rectum, where the feces will be collecting and forming our forming the feces. Sorry. So I'm going to move back to this part right here. So rectum is just storage there when materials reforming, and then the internal anal sphincter is under involuntary control, because the internal anal sphincter, once the rectum is full, will open up, and then, or will relax, I should say, and then when that happens, it forces the feces a little bit further into the anal canal, where you have the external anal sphincter, or the anus, and that's under voluntary control. At least you hope it is. So that is the end of the digestive system lecture. What I'm going to do is I'll post these movies, and then I will post these notes that I put up here. I'm also going to post a PowerPoint. Actually, I gave you the PowerPoint, so I don't have to do that. But I will send out an email just clarifying what we can do to help you understand this. And remember, the last part of this, that nutrition part, which I think is chapter 18, don't worry about learning that information for a test, because that is just for your information, your knowledge. if you want to look that over.